Hey, welcome to the 29th annual Lebanon Garden Tour. We are thrilled to offer you a walking, historic neighborhood tour this year. We have 6 gardens. Generally, we have 5 private gardens, but there were so many that wanted to help out us, the Lebanon Council of Garden Clubs, in our endeavors to keep the train station alive and welcoming with all its gardens and upkeep of the station, that we have 6 gardens this year to show off. And today I'm here with Joan Cummins. And Joan has been a garden club member for how long, Joan?
28 years.
28 years. And Joan has been the treasurer, the president, you name it. Joan is a go-to person. And she starts new and innovative programs. She did the flower boxes on the bridges. She has helped us to get grants and funding to keep the train station in good shape. We are just really indebted to all the work that you have done, Joan, for our community.
Okay, now I'm gonna blush.
That's good. We're in color. We're in living color. But we are grateful for all of our gardeners who give us their gardens for the rest of the community to enjoy and to be inspired by. And that's why we started the garden tour, to do just that. So let's ask Joan some of the things about her gardens in this historic neighborhood. Joan, first of all, a garden is around your gorgeous historic home. Can you tell us a little bit about how old your house is and how long you've lived here?
Okay, we moved here in '83, so we have been here a while. It's 36 years. Our house is a Greek Revival, which was before Victorians. I'm not sure how much people know. And it's supposed to look like a Greek temple. And that's why you have painted pastels and there's pillars. And it was built in the 1840s. We don't have an exact year.
Right.
When you look at the records, it's a little fuzzy. But it was definitely a townhouse. And it was 2 rooms down, 2 rooms up at the front. And then as you walk around the house, you can see the house grew back. And there's solariums on the 1st and 2nd floor. Right. There's lots of interesting features inside, like curvy walls and
neat.
Yes.
Neat. And you've raised 2 wonderful daughters here.
Yes, that's how I know how long I was in garden club, because Emily was 1 and she's now 29.
Isn't
so
that
I know I'm
something?
in garden club 20 years.
That's neat. That's really neat.
Yes.
So that makes this house 179 years old?
Yep.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Boy, they built them good back then.
Yes, they did. There's 12-inch thick brick walls.
So you stay nice and cool.
We do. And when the big hurricane winds came through, we had no problems. I know the frame houses, some of them had problems.
Right, but you
fine.
didn't. But you had some damage to your garden during that hurricane season.
Oh, yeah.
What year was that?
08? 07? I was thinking, wait a minute, I think when Emily went to college.
Right.
Anyway, there was a big tree in that side yard.
Yes.
That came down, which then impacted my gardening.
Yes.
Time impacts your gardening all the time. Because then all of a sudden I had a lot of sun that I wasn't used to, because normally we're very shady. So I had to change things up to make it work. But I now have a little place for some sun-loving daylilies, which is very nice, which I appreciate.
And that's going to be an exciting part about this walking tour, is just taking in the neighborhood in all the glorious trees.
Yes.
So let's go to some of your trees.
Okay.
Now, the emerald ash borer really did a number on a lot of trees in this neighborhood and other neighborhoods as well, too. But you've had success.
Yes, we have 2 ashes in the front that are being treated and are still alive. They have some dead in them, but they have leafed out. Each spring I go out there and watch and
keep your fingers crossed, right?
We did lose a really large ash right over here. It had a 5.5 foot diameter, but it was huge. If you were in town, you could pick it out.
I mean,
it was way bigger than this. Yeah. It was huge.
Wow.
But it was so close to the house, and it had so much damage from the borer that we were worried it would fall in the house. So even with the 12-inch thick brick walls, you still don't want a giant tree falling on your house. No. So we had to give up on that.
Good.
But we planted this oak when we first moved in, and it's really prospered.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Now, this has got a great story too, because you wanted shade right away.
Yes, and our house had so many trees, but not on the west side. This is the west side. So I got a bonus at my work, and I said, I want to buy a tree. So Siebenthalers came down with a crane.
Oh my gosh.
And planted this tree. And I asked the guy at the time, I said, is this too close? He goes, no, oak is great. And so because I have flowers under it, I water it pretty often. So oaks are slow growing, but not this one so
Wow.
much. He's really grown.
It's glorious. And it adds a lot of shade to your house,
Yes,
too.
and then we had the patio a few years ago, and it's just wonderful.
So you like to come out here to have your coffee in the morning.
Coffee and tea, sit out here and chat.
And just hear the birds going
Oh,
away.
yes, and we have bird feeders. Although they'll be gone by the time of the garden tour because I take them down in the summer.
Right,
So.
because they've got the
They got other
plentiful
things to
gardens. Right, very good.
Yes.
So feed them during the wintertime, but around May, you say, because...
Yeah, end of May, I'll say, okay, guys, you're on your own. Plus,
And they don't get angry with
no, and they kind of make small messes, so I don't want them on the flowers.
you. Right. Neat. So this is a wonderful space that you have here. And then you got inspired by one of our guest speakers at our garden club meeting.
Pat Stidham, who lives up in Springboro, she has done several programs called Gardening Without a Dirty Shovel or something similar to that.
Right.
And she gardens where she does not dig holes. She doesn't plant in the ground. She does lots of containers and special displays, we'll call it. So a couple years ago, I had heard her, and our daughters were in town. So you'll see maybe from some pictures, there's a place down in the lower backyard. We have a tiered yard. And then last year I got inspired in another corner. I'm basically trying to make it easier for my husband so he doesn't have to mow around weird things. So anyway, or on hillside.
Good idea. So everything's in a mulched area or away from the grass.
So it makes it easier for him. So when we have a gazebo down here, you have nice things to see.
Oh my gosh, many nice things to see. And so it's like interior decorating, but it's outside.
Correct.
Like a gardening room.
Yes,
that
and I'm much more interested in that. Interior decorating we do okay, but gardening I like, and you have to evolve. I mean, I've had times where we've had deep freezes, and I finally had to go, okay, this is not working here. What else would grow here? And you need to watch your sun.
Right.
I mean, if it says sun part sun, that means it could take all day. But if it says shade part shade, it might need a lot of sun at certain times of the day, or it could be full shade. So you really need to pay attention because that's sometimes why things don't grow.
Right, and if they like their spot, they like their spot. We
Yes.
had talked about your limelight hydrangea, which is huge.
Yes, it's very happy. I had roses there for a while.
Right.
Then there was a deep freeze, and I was pushing it with how much sun they got anyway. So I thought, what do I want back there? Because it's in a corner, it's kind of far away. And I researched and I said, oh, limelight hydrangea. And I got the big one, and it ends up covered with lovely big multi-flowers. It's really pretty.
So will that be in blossom in
No,
late
unfortunately
June?
not. But
Later
I do
on.
have a lot of different things in bloom sequentially. I have a lot of perennials.
So you've organized it so that you've got something pretty and something with color all
going
around.
all the time.
Neat. That's a great
And
way
a
to
few
do it.
annuals just for pop and for hummingbirds. So
Oh, so you get hummingbirds here too.
yes, they like the red impatiens.
Oh, neat.
So
Neat.
and they just give you a nice pop of color.
All right, and so while you're sipping on your coffee,
Yep.
enjoying,
Yep.
you'll find at this garden tour this year is that our gardeners have generally lived in their homes for a while, and they just thoroughly enjoy being in nature and sitting in their cozy spot with a cup of tea, cup of coffee, and just hearing the birds chirp away.
Yes.
And I have found that at each place there's just a real comfortable area to just enjoy the hard work that people put in making their gardens gorgeous. You also have a sweet smelling rose back there on your swing.
Yeah, the old swing set. So we had this old swing set, which we didn't need anymore as our kids were grown. So I came up with putting what I think was a porch swing on it. And then on each end I planted the fairy climbing rose, which has a wonderful fragrance. And then I have a presidential clematis growing with it. And sometimes, and this year is one of the times, although folks, if you're coming to the tour, I think it might be done, they bloom at the same time. So you have the beautiful pink rose, the deep purple clematis, and
good
the
combo.
fragrance. And you sit on the swing and you smell it.
That's great.
It's really wonderful when it works.
That was kind of the reason why you did that, isn't it?
Exactly.
Just enjoy that swing and then the beautiful senses. And
fragrance.
so often, because of hybridization and things like that, our flowers don't smell as much as they
don't
used
have
to.
the wonderful fragrance.
But when you're careful to ask, is this going to be a fragrant plant?
Right.
You got the right kind, and that pink is just beautiful. Wait
Yes.
till you see that. That's
Yes.
going to be neat.
So you can see it in the pictures.
Now, I also want to talk about your gazebo, like outdoor living space. This is tremendous. The gazebo was there
When we moved in.
when you moved in, but they wanted it to become a 3-season.
Yeah.
And so they made it screened in, put electricity with a ceiling fan, a light, which Joan is retired from the library.
Right.
and she enjoys reading tremendously. So that is just a beautiful area down there.
It's wonderful. And we have a little indoor fountain, so you get a little muffling of some of the street noise. And then I have a rocking chair so I can sit in my rocker and read and be under a fan. And my husband's out there usually with the device. But we thoroughly have been enjoying our space. So
and you frequently have dinner down there too, right?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting tiered level, and so you're going to see also how Joan has accommodated that. She's got steps down to the second level, as well as a garden area on the little slope there.
Yeah, there's a kind of an L-shaped, and the part of the garden that I am most proud of is my shade garden, which is underneath a big honeysuckle tree. I don't know if I've told you this. So Mike and I, years ago, before the kids, this was way overgrown because the lady who lived here had gone to a nursing home. So we started pulling out honeysuckles and pulling out honeysuckles.
Yeah, they go crazy.
And then in the middle we went, oh my goodness, there's a tree in here, which we couldn't even see because there were so many honeysuckles. So we cleared that all away, and then I filled that with basically green and white plants. So it's my tiny version of Sissinghurst, which is a garden in England where I've never been, but anyway. Sissinghurst, anyway, and it's very calming and cool on a hot day.
Well, and just hostas reminding me of a sea.
Yes,
hostas, when you see all the colors and the wind.
Ferns.
Oh yes. Now,
ferns.
When we go down there, we're going to have to show you the annual begonia, right?
Oh yes.
That is an unusual plant.
Yes, a lady that I knew, who's now passed on, she gave me this plant, and it's so beautiful. You grow it for its leaves. It's green, and it's got a red veins, and then underneath it's really red.
Yeah.
Yes, and then it gets flowers, but you don't really grow it for that. But these leaves are just gorgeous, and I'm so pleased. Anyway, it's got a little corner down there, and it's just happy as all get out now.
And it's neat because when the wind blows, you just see this beautiful maroon red.
Yes.
And plants are just marvelous creations. Yes. I'll tell you, there's just so many beautiful things to see.
Yeah, and it just comes back every year. Love it.
For kids on the tour, we enjoy when families come because we want to inspire all different types of folks and all their different living spaces. So if people bring their kids, Joan has something that they would enjoy too. Can you talk about the Dragon Garden?
Oh, okay. So I bought this statue of this face of this lady with a dragon on it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, she's got the dragon kind of like a tattoo, but it's carved in. And then I thought, okay, now what I'm going to do with this? So there's another area I knew it was hard for my husband to mow over there. So we set up some displays. We bought a little dragon statue, and then I have some flower pots over there. And yes, and then there's another little dragon, and there's even a dragon in the gazebo, a little dragon.
Right.
So we kind of have a little dragon theme going on over there.
Very good, very good. So it's kind of fun to see all the decorative items, and blue plays a major part in your garden too.
Yeah, I like the blue. We did a lot of blue around the gazebo because that's another cooling color.
Yes.
And we all know how hot it can be here in July and August. So you want something that's cooling to your eyes, so maybe it'll help you feel cool too.
Right. Right, good.
And I've got a little bit of blue some other places.
Super. So there's going to be a little bit of something, also just seeing how their emerald ash trees, their survived the emerald ash borers. And also on the front, by your pillars, I just love to see Joan has the ceiling of the porch painted blue because that's a southern
thing. And I traveled in my work for a long time and noticed that when I was in the South, and I went, what a great idea. So all our porches now have blue ceilings.
Blue ceilings. But you have those gorgeous hanging ferns.
Yes.
And then you have beautiful begonias.
Angel wing begonias, and by August they will grow together.
They touch each other.
Because they're all happy, and you just give them a lot of water. Ferns love water. And they will grow and grow and grow, just like these guys here.
And I know Joan often gets a ribbon when we do our Christmas judging. The Lebanon Council of Garden Clubs does a Christmas judging. And just this beautiful Greek revival has just a gorgeous symmetry in the porch. And so when she decorates for that, she frequently gets a ribbon. And that container garden and the hanging ferns just make a gorgeous display for the whole summer too. So.
Yeah, it's worked out well.
Super.
But I had to experiment for a while. The very first year I planted stuff all across the front, and the slugs and the snails ate everything. So I went, okay, that's not working. So you just never know.
That's right. And I guess you just got to enjoy the give and take with the garden.
You got to just say, okay, I have patience. It's like being a parent. You have to be patient when you have kids. You need to be patient when you're gardening because you may try something and go, oh, well, that didn't work. Or, oh, that was a big success. You just never quite know. You
Very
hope for the
good.
best.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing Joan's garden and Mike's. He's
Yes.
he's the grass
He's
cutter.
the mower.
That's right, and that's a definite need too. And can't wait till you see and just enjoy being in this beautiful space at the Cummins Garden.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Joan. Right now, we are going to look through the Miller's Garden. And I know you've probably seen it when you've driven around Lebanon. And it's a gorgeous home and just a lovely garden. And I like to tell Paula and Tom, I think walking into their yard is like opening a family scrapbook where there's bedrock, there's figurines in the garden, there's artwork, there is plants, all from different family members, neighbors, good friends. So I'm anxious for them to tell the stories. We welcome you for being here, and we're going to try to keep a straight face because Tom is quite a trickster. So, but anyhow, Paula's got her hummingbird earrings. So let's start off with those, Paula. Those are so cool. Tell us about those.
This was my aunt's, and we love hummingbirds.
Sure.
So I thought I'd wear these, for their garden interview.
Very good.
Yeah.
Perfect. And we could take a tour of just your birdhouses. You've got many, many birdhouses. One looks like a canoe, one looks like a cardinal, one is a regular house. And I love the one that Tom painted of Belle, your dog,
Yes.
on the beautiful yellow house, that birdhouse. Tell us about that, Tom.
Well, that was a Mother's Day present, and just took some scrap pieces of wood and even some perforated wood and put it together, made little porches going out both sides, and painted it and put Belle on there, and then Paul ended up putting vines on it after she received it.
She embellished it.
The sad part about that birdhouse is we've never had any birds in it.
Well, it's just
we
too pretty
painted
to
it
sit
too
in.
well.
You did a great rendition. Belle was such a beloved dog of yours, and to put that on there, what a wonderful gift for Mother's Day. That was a neat surprise, I'm sure.
Yes, it
That's
was.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So your house is 179 years old. You take marvelous good care of it, and then now you've been enriching the gardens, and you've even expanded. You made a whole new garden.
We have.
We're novices at this gardening,
Yeah.
but we've had a lot of fun with it, and we've experimented. Yeah, we made a woodland garden, so
That's
it's
neat.
been fun.
I love how you've honored Winky McKenzie, a beloved neighbor who just passed away.
Yes.
They've got the Winky tree down there.
She gave us 2 ginkgo trees probably 10 years ago.
Oh my God.
And when she passed away last year, I said, Tom, we need to call that the Winky tree. So you'll see the Winky tree.
It's got a lot of personality. So
Yeah, and it's-
ginkgos.
yes.
That's a neat variety there.
And then we've taken stones from my family farm near Fort Ancient and made a lot of the beds using the stones from the farm.
They're
And
gorgeous.
people have given us plants. We have a lot of family heirloom plants, friends.
Tell us about the irises. That your grandfather.
My grandfather, Frank Everett,
Yes.
used to have a dahlia farm and grew irises too. And
my gosh.
every time there was a new grandchild, he would crossbreed and make a new color. So,
You've got one named after you, though, don't you?
Yes.
But-
Yes. And through the years, my cousin gave me some more of them that
Cool.
he still had in the yard, and we brought them here, and they're beautiful. One of them is a variety that blooms twice a year. It blooms in the spring, and it will bloom again in the fall, and it's yellow.
Oh.
And my grandfather passed away in 1969, so it's an old.
It's an
It's-
old-fashioned
it's an
one.
old-fashioned one, yeah.
Neat. That must be so much fun to go through there and remember all the good friends and family members who have given you different things over the years, too.
We actually have an iris that was from my sister Lynn up in Circleville,
Oh, neat.
that she had raised. So
And what color is that one?
it's a peach colored.
Very
It's a what's it called? A
Beverly
Beverly
Sills.
Sills. There you go.
Beverly Hills, all right. And on one whole side of your house, you've got a beautiful arbor. Tell us how you developed that garden on the side of the house.
Over the years, vacationing in the summer and things like that, We wanted something that could survive without us being
Didn't
there.
water it, yeah.
And this year, we've added, along with that, lavender to that.
Ooh, that
and
smells great.
it's kind of mixed things up, and it's made it a lot of fun. The other side, which is Paula's side, it has just a variety of flowers, and
Neat. That'll
it
be
looks
fun
great.
to walk through there.
And
Yeah.
part of the variety of flowers that are kind of going everywhere now is because when you're on vacation,
Right.
they
You
just
gotta let it
kind of
do its
go.
own thing.
Yes.
And then you have a water feature. You've got the fountain going. And is that by the smokehouse, or what structure is that by?
Well, that structure is early on with the original building. It was originally the outhouse on one side, and, and it was not only a two-stool outhouse; it was a two-room outhouse. And you can see that the louvered doors, and the louvered doors still even have where they had the toilet paper holder. The other side would have been the
I didn't know that.
smokehouse.
Okay.
And the smokehouse then would have had a door directly across from it that would have gone into the summer kitchen.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
It's now
Isn't that
just
something?
our shed.
Yeah.
His side and my side.
With a great history behind it too.
Yeah.
That's great. That is neat. Now, you have like a sea of bottle brush buckeye.
Yes.
And you've got a gorgeous bush by one of your entryways on the side of your house, and then in the back by the woodland, the new woodland garden, you've got, and I'll bet that'll just be glorious by the time the garden tour comes around.
It will be, because they always bloom about June 22nd and 23rd. And they stay for maybe 10 days.
Yeah.
And
About
then
right.
and then they're gone. But they have a flower on it that's probably this long, and it looks like a bottle brush.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a 3-season bush. It has the flower in the summer, and it has like a buckeye. It grows in the fall.
Oh, it actually has a big
Oh, yeah,
knotted.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a buckeye. It starts off as brown, and then it loses its hull. It's a whitish color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or-
And then in the wintertime, what does it look like? Just
Bare.
branches? Just branches?
Cream
bare.
color. I'll correct that. Yeah.
just bare.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
And we don't, this was here. We have not done anything with these. They're easy.
Oh, yeah, and they're such a showy plant.
They sprout underground, they shoot out, and they're beautiful. They look
And
very
they-
manicured.
They love their spots. But pretty soon, this area of bottle brush buckeye is going to be inhabited by dinosaurs, I hear.
Yes.
Right.
So you have
Yes.
inspired your son to help you out with that project.
Right. We've got one dinosaur that we started off with that came from his factory
That green
he
one is
runs for
adorable.
us up in Washington Courthouse, and now he's made another 10 that we're going to have scattered throughout the yard. So
Well, we always like it when families can come together, and I just know the kids that come are just going to get a hoot out of that. That's going to be fun because it's going to look like they're lurching out of the bushes,
Yes.
and that's going to be cool. And you, can you tell us a little bit about your business and how your son has?
Well, I'm a third generation steel fabricator. We fabricate steel for buildings and industry. The factory up in Washington Courthouse makes chassis as well as weldments for business and structural steel. Factory in Springboro makes structural and miscellaneous steel for large buildings. We do between 5,000 and 6,000 tons of steel a year.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I've been in the business now 45 years.
Isn't that something? But we're not getting older.
No,
But you can tell that Tom is just getting more and more fun. He
You and Paula are getting younger, but I'm not.
No, he and Paula just have such a great fun time together, and you can see that in their house, you can see it in their garden, and it's just neat to have your next generation having fun here too with
Yeah.
making
Yes.
the dinosaurs, and we'll be able to showcase that green one in here too. So I really look forward to showing off your garden and for having people to ask you questions about things. Like they say, they are not professional gardeners, but they'll be able to help you solve problems. Like the area that we're in right now was called the
we called it Play Island because the boys had a big tree house
Yes.
in the tree, and rabbits. They raised rabbits under here, and over the years, it just dipped.
It was worn out.
It was
Yeah.
and so
Three
it,
boys worn out.
That's
That's
right.
right.
They played a hole in the ground.
yeah, it kind of flooded every time it rained. So we hauled in dirt about 3 weeks ago,
It's probably been
4 weeks?
5 or 6 now, but we put dirt in
Raised it
and
up a little bit.
planted the grass.
So now we have all new grass that we're sitting on
Right,
here.
correct.
So the garden tour actually helps some people like take that extra push and like, let's get that project done. So if you think about being on the garden tour and you want to get that project done, it's a good thing to be on the tour, and it helps folks to get one more project finished. So
Yes.
I'm sure it's going to be a whew
That's a
after the
fact.
weekend is over with. Yeah.
It will, but it'll be really nice
Yeah.
because we like to talk to people and learn and show what we've done.
And you know, and that I think is one of the marvelous parts about being on a garden tour is asking the gardener what works, what doesn't work. Oh, I never thought of that combination, and just to get the personality. So I think our Lebanon garden tour for 29 years has been showing off the marvelous personalities that Lebanon has to offer. And so I thank you for all the things that you do for our city, and for being on the tour, supporting the Lebanon Council of Garden Clubs, and also all the things you do for the Lebanon Conservancy too, is, you know, offering your house on different tours. I mean, you really are generous, so I appreciate that, and we appreciate being able to learn. And again too, just here we've got, do you want to talk about this beautiful art piece here? You'll just see all different types of things that are the Miller's personality.
It came from my aunt and uncle's house out in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
It's gorgeous.
And it's part petrified wood and part carvings of other, I don't know what these,
Partridges.
of the partridges.
And it's unique. And anyway, it reminded us of our uncle.
Sure enough.
And we think we like it.
I think
We wanted
it's
to just show it off.
beautiful. That's right. So we thank you for sharing everything with us, and we look forward to seeing everybody here at your house at the Orchard
Yes.
on the garden tour, June 22nd and 23rd. So thanks again, Paula and Tom.
Thanks,
Thank
Mary
you.
Pat.
Sure enough. All right, here we are at the Lebanon train station with Mickey Marquis, the Lebanon Council of Garden Club's president. So Mickey, thanks for having us.
Oh, I'm
and
happy to bring you here.
great. And this is what benefits from the garden tour, is that right?
That's right. All the landscaping, everything we do here is possible because of the money that we receive from the garden tour.
That's right. So when you come on the garden tour, you help to support one of Lebanon's, I'd say, the second most photographed place.
I think it is still the second most
That's right.
photographed place in Lebanon. A lot of senior pictures are taken here. A lot of wedding pictures are taken here.
That's right. And then why does a garden club have a train station?
Well, this used to...
It's a
long
funny story, yeah.
This used to be just a blank lot, and there was a lot of bottles and cans and debris, garbage. And
Right.
the garden club ladies would come in on 42, and they would see this, and they just thought, this is an eyesore, we have to clean this up. And there was a big movement in the 70s to clean things up. So they started cleaning it up, and one thing led to another. And really it was serendipitous, just the way it happened, just one
Right.
thing after another. They never intended to build a station, but people started donating the waiting station, the semaphore, the...
Right. And it's a replica
It is
of
a
a
replica.
Pennsylvania station.
Yes.
And so it's like our focal point. We have garden club meetings here. We have
Flower
beautiful-
shows.
garden flower shows. We have garden tours that people from different garden clubs come here and visit. And as you know, lots of graduation pictures, prom pictures, family pictures are taken on these grounds. So let's take a look at some of them.
Okay.
All right, now it's the responsibility of garden club members to maintain all of these gardens.
We
Is
are
that right?
strictly volunteers.
That's right.
We-
and this was an improvement that we made, gosh, about 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So we had these railings put in.
And our members are getting older, so this was very helpful for a lot
Comes
of
in
our
handy,
older
right?
members.
Very good.
And it looks much nicer.
That's right. And then our shelter here, this way station, is where a lot of bicyclists, because we're close to the bike path,
Right.
and families will come here and picnic, and people just weary
I think a
travelers.
lot of people that work in town will come down here and picnic lunch.
That's right.
And the grounds are always open to anyone who wants to come.
Exactly. And then pretty soon we're going to have the new city
Oh, I
park
can't wait.
right
I was
across.
hoping we could show it off for the garden tour, but we had some clams and turtles and fish and just different wildlife that we had to wait on their breeding seasons.
Oh,
so it put our
gotcha.
timing back, but we're
Okay.
okay. We want to protect the environment too.
That's for sure too. And about talking about and protecting the environment, I noticed that we have a rain barrel here too.
We collect our rain and we use that. That's a nice,
That's right.
just a little side
Great
thing.
And a lot of homes are now looking into that to reuse the water that they get from their roofs.
Right.
Very good. All right, and now there's this gorgeous hosta garden. And there were 2 garden club members in particular that kind of spearheaded this. Who were they?
Was it, well, Jim and Pat Schumann.
Yes, yes. And so when the train comes, now they have something very pretty to look at too.
This was always just blank on that side.
Right.
They really never did a whole lot with it. And really, this is what people see. I mean,
That's
they
right.
go out
When
on the
they come-
train tracks, and it's not always beautiful scenery because the diesel from the train kills a lot of the plants along there. So it's nice that they get to leave and come back to a beautiful spot.
Very neat. All right. Now, Mickey, the train station is where the tour actually starts. Tell us what happens when a person wants to go on the tour.
You can pre-buy tickets, but
Yes.
but the day of the tour, they're sold here.
Yes.
And they just come down, get their tickets, and then there's a map with all the addresses.
Mm-hmm.
They can follow it just as they want to, or maybe they know where a good place for lunch is in between and they want to change it up a little bit.
That's for
Some
sure.
people go completely in reverse.
That's right. That's right. So they come here. They can purchase the $15 tickets
Right.
on June the 22nd or the 23rd, and they'll get their map. They'll get the directions, and they can look inside the train station too, because we have a little collection of
Lot of
railroad
real neat
memorabilia.
replicas, yeah.
Great. And then where can they buy the tickets in advance?
We have Greenfield Plant Farm.
Okay.
I'm not going to remember them all.
Okay. Evers.
Oh, Evers.
Country Garden. We have Sharon Nursery,
Sharon Nursery.
and we
Ice
have
cream.
Creeches.
Creaches. And they're in a new location on South 42
That's
now.
right. They're right down the street from us. And then we have Brick House Engraving and Design. That's a business downtown that has them. We also have the Village Ice Cream Parlor, and we also have the Ambassadors Fine Linens
Yes.
downtown.
Great,
So we have
great
3
places to
businesses downtown.
Do a little shopping when you're buying your ticket.
Right, and then we have Evers, Creeches, Greenfield, Sharon Nursery.
It's on our Facebook page too. That's
That's
a
right.
great place to get information.
Check out everything
I always
there.
have to refer back to that because I forget so much.
For sure, for sure. Okay, and so those tickets are $10, right? And then you can also
Great
go,
deal, great deal.
Oh, for sure. And online you can go to www.harmonmuseumohio.org.
Right, and buy the ticket straight just online. Very
Right,
simple.
makes it
easy
simple there
thing to
too.
do.
But the thing is, the days of the tour, those will not be available.
Right, they go up to $15. That's quite
right.
a jump. So
That's
it's really
right.
good to do
It's
it
a good
in
thing to do.
advance.
Yeah, so we're taking a look at our roses. Oh, the alliums have already
The
done their
alliums
thing.
are beautiful. Yeah.
They're looking good. They're looking good. And then we just rejuvenated the herb garden.
This mint garden, herb garden,
Got everything.
has been here for a long time, and we've done improvements along the year. But about 2 years ago, we just really rejuvenated it, and there's so much color now. We've always had lots of great, unusual herbs to see,
Oh
but
my
this
gosh.
is definitely a place when you come on the tour that you want to stop and look at these herbs.
And they've got new signature signs
signs,
on
they're
them to try
beautiful.
that. Yes. And so Arlene Cretley, she and the herb committee did a great job for
She
years.
worked for years, probably 20 years, I think.
Oh
on
my
this
gosh.
garden.
And then we had a new member come in who showed a lot of enthusiasm, and she spearheaded and made this gorgeous too. So we just love to have new members in the garden club. They bring their gifts and their talents, and they express them here and help us maintain this beautiful spot. I was just going to say too, all the people who are on the tour, how do we get them? How do they?
I'm excited about this tour. I just got finished reading all the descriptions and the houses. There's so many historic homes.
Yes.
So much history, and we're known for our historic charm in Lebanon.
In Lebanon,
So
right.
this is going to just be a showcase year for that.
Right.
And
some of
we-
these houses are 179 years old.
I
and so
love
some of the
that. I love
trees
that.
are getting around that age too.
Huge trees. And you know, we look at the gardens. Sometimes people will say, I have a garden I want to show.
Right.
And sometimes people say, I have a friend whose garden would be really nice. And not everybody wants to be on the tour, but a lot of times it just works. We have beautiful gardens. We try to look at it in the season that it would be blooming. We have a very good garden tour committee. and
Yes, we
Chairman
do.
Mary Pat.
Thank you.
You do a lot of good
Well,
work.
and it's exciting, like, you know, these generous individuals like Lynn Cheney and her historic home with all the glorious trees and the Cora bells.
It
and
is so beautiful. And you go by that garden and you see how beautiful it is from the outside, but there's so many little secrets inside.
Right,
And
different
you get to go
views.
in and just walk in and just see all those little things.
And she wants people to feel her hospitality by sitting on her side porch,
Aw.
looking over the golf course,
She
Harmon
would.
Golf Course, serving lemonade.
Yes.
So that's going to be just a peaceful sitting and just enjoying the garden as she does all the time.
Idyllic.
And then we have Jesse and John Schneider. And this is
They're
a most
fun.
adorable young family who
Little kids.
three of them, three little babies, and they are taking on this historic garden and huge house, and they couldn't be more excited to be on the tour. When John was
They were over the moon with it,
yeah,
weren't they?
John was moving mulch one day, and Mickey and I went up and said, "Hey, John, would you be on the garden tour?" And bam, the man says yes, and we're like, "Uh-oh, don't you think you better ask Jesse first?" You know, and he says, "Yeah, I guess that'd be a good idea."
But they had talked about it too, and he knew.
That was so adorable. Jesse said, "What, does this mean we're going to be on the tour?" And we said, "Yeah, if you say yes." She said, "Yes. I told my husband that when someday to get out there and work in that yard because I want to be on the garden tour someday." So
You know, it's
that was
when,
so
when
much
you
fun.
have your own garden and you work so hard. I mean, it's tireless. You work endless hours.
For sure.
It is wonderful to get people to come in your garden and see what you've done because you work hard.
That's
And
right. And then we have Sylvia
to show off.
Bias, who's got a marvelous porch swing, and she's got a glorious garden around her cottage house. It's just going to be terrific.
That is a sweet little garden. I love that one.
Definitely. And then the Millers with the orchards and their beautiful garden, and just all.
And you know, the houses this year, it seems like so many people know so much of the history of their homes. And you can just picture, like that garden in particular, with 60 acres of orchards.
Yes.
Just mind-boggling that there would be that so close to the Golden Lamb, and there would be something like that.
Yeah, and they said yes to be on
Yes.
the tour. So all these generous people. Joan Cummins, we talked with her, and just all the glorious trees, and she had trouble with emerald ash borer, and so
Yes,
she's trying to
yes.
get over that. And she has a dinosaur tree we forgot to mention.
I haven't seen that yet. I can't wait to go up and see
and
that.
it's called a
Oh,
pine. It's a certain kind
umbrella
of
pine.
Umbrella
Umbrella
pine. And it reminds me of a Dr. Seuss tree, but it's
It
right by
does,
her
it
wooden
does.
bench. And that's pretty cool. And then we have also Susan Richardson, who was a teacher in the Lebanon school system for many, many years.
Just a funky, cool garden.
Oh my gosh,
And
does
amazing.
she know how to decorate?
Yeah,
Her
that is
front
a
porch, I walk by
Very
there.
modern and contemporary, but good for a gardener is going to love it too.
Yes. And then she lives on that adorable street where we're encouraging people to come and walk Lebanon. The
That
tour
is
is
a
just about
special street.
3 blocks long, and just seeing all the gardens in between from the sidewalk. You're not invited in all those yards, just our yards on the tour, but just to see all the different gardens on your walking path. So we're hoping that we have a glorious day like today.
That street is full of gardens that would be worthy to
Yes.
be toured.
Oh my
They're
gosh.
just, for different reasons, surgeries or whatever, not able to this year.
That's right. And so anyhow, we encourage you to come, walk the tour, drive the tour, but just come on the tour, support the Lebanon train station, the Lebanon Council of Garden Clubs, and also the work that these wonderful citizens of Lebanon have put in to share with you, to inspire you, to beautify your garden. So, see
And
you.
Mary Pat, I want to thank you too, because I know how much work you've put into this. This is your life for so long.
This
You've
is a
breathed these
true
gardens.
labor of love.
Well,
My
we
husband and I,
appreciate
we
you
put up
very
the
much.
signs. We have wonderful people on the garden clubs that work together because we all know the power of the beauty of gardens.
That's right.
We really do. So see you June 22nd and 23rd, 11 to 5 p.m. both days, rain or shine. Bring your friends. Have a great day and celebrate Lebanon.